Welcome to another edition of the Willy Bragg Show. I am your host, Willy Bragg. It is Saturday, April the 8th, 2023. It is Saturday night, where is that time we call the Willy Bragg Show Saturday Night Feature. This is the time where the Willy Bragg Show, as the Willy Bragg Show, works in partnership with Cabarrus News Group, that's KRTD Media, where we work with each other in harmony, basically to promote each other as far as independent media. And that is basically the great idea of my platform simultaneously using their platform using my platform to promote each other as a way to promote independent media, because we are buried in the algorithms and we're shadow banned all across the board. And so we have to do this to beat the algorithm problem on YouTube, and we have to use other platforms as well, because they don't like alternative voices out there, causing havoc and trouble, being muckrakers. So this is where we come in and we help each other out. That's the idea. This is why I do encourage each and every one of you to do the same. If you have something to say, please create your own platform and start, because this is the sort of thing that's going to get out and circumvent the corporate media narrative, because that is a narrative that needs to be defeated. We're a tiny little David, and that corporate media is the lopsided Goliath that needs to be taken down and knocked down a peg or two. So anyway, let me just start by saying this, since I'm primarily on YouTube. I'm on other platforms too. To be sure to hit the like button, because when you hit the like button, that helps with the algorithms. So hit the like button. Be sure to comment at the end of the videos when watching it, good, bad, or indifferent. Subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell. Same thing with KRTD Media. If you happen to be watching it from KRTD Media, be sure to hit the like button, comment, also subscribe and hit the notification bell, and give your support to KRTD Media. Let me make a quick reminder that KRTD Media has super chats. And I'm going to just gently mention this every 15 minutes. Very quickly. So if you can to possibly give, please do so. It helps with the work to promote and to grow independent media overall. So and I'm just going to leave it at that for the moment. So also follow my channel on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch, and same thing with regard to KRTD Media. Follow all their platforms as applied. So there's enough of that, and I'm going to make some announcements later on. And so I'll save the announcements for the end of the show. Right now, what I want to talk about is politics in America. I mean, isn't that what I always talk about? Politics. But that's what we talk about a lot, and when doing so, sometimes it's a gloomy subject. It can be negative, gloomy, and grim, and all that. And and sometimes I will complain about what's going on here and what's going on there, and I try to offer a solution, but sometimes fall short. And I think that a lot of other people try to do the same thing and fall short too. Some people do a better job about it than I do, and it's just all we can do to try to make a difference. And let's hope by working together that we can do this sort of thing. So what I want to discuss basically is there's so much that's wrong with our country right now, and I have to go and start with something that's not American but relates to America, and that is a British author by the name of George Orwell, who wrote 1984. And he wrote this book, this novel, to warn our society, not as an instruction manual. Unfortunately, 1984 became an instruction manual for America, other countries too. Don't get me wrong. And that's where we're standing when it comes to right now. But what's interesting about George Orwell was that some of the things that this man, this socialist, and what he was for, and in the road to Wigan Pier, I believe it was in 1937, he said that the way it was something to the effect of to defeat fascism and to have a free England, that what is needed is a vibrant, strong socialist party. And by then, he was referring to the Labour Party at that time. Obviously not the Labour Party of Tony Blair, because we know what he did to the party, which was absolutely just an abomination of everything I could ever stand for. But and there are people who are revisionists that will talk about George Orwell and try to change the meaning of what he stood for and all of that. And what I mean by that is that I've gotten to some arguments with some conservatives over the years that they hate socialism so much that anything that was positive under socialism, that they would try to undermine it and not give them the proper credit that they were due. George Orwell was an anti-authoritarian all through and through. He was a free speech absolutist, and he was against the authoritarianism by the state. And one of my favorite quotes is, "Every line of serious work that I have written since 1936 have been written directly or indirectly against totalitarianism and for democratic socialism." So I want y'all to realize, well, my audience will realize this for the most part, but for those that are critical of socialism, that ironically loves to quote Orwell, deliberately fails to see that George Orwell was himself a socialist. So, and we could use a man like George Orwell today in America. And I would say in his native England, they could use a man like Orwell in the UK. So let's go back to America for a minute, because what we have in this country is I don't know why we know this is unacceptable, yet this pass for political discourse. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and the culture war that they basically prop up and get their followers all whipped into a frenzy over. Joe Biden, I'm going to tell you the truth, never appealed to me, and because he's been a corporate Democrat from day one, and there's not even a populist bone in his body. Donald Trump used some populist rhetoric, and he's a grifter, and some of the populist things that he advocated in his campaign in 2016, he didn't follow through. So, and then when he ran for re-election in 2020, the populism, or let's say the more palatable aspect of his 2016 campaign, was long and forgotten. So much so that Ben Shapiro, who was a critic of Donald Trump in 2016, became an enthusiastic supporter of Trump in 2020. That tells you everything that's wrong with Donald Trump. That he hated Donald Trump, presumably for the wrong reasons, and loved Donald Trump for presumably the wrong reasons when he decided to support him. And of course, that's a lot of people that's kind of on the right these days. Not just Ben Shapiro, but people like Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles and that type. And we have the culture war that's basically perpetuating and just kind of remains stagnant in our discourse because we have this two-party system. And I think that the best way to basically basically weaken the culture war is to dismantle the two-party system. I have become more and more convinced because the two-party system is like two-dimensional chess. It's like chess. It's two-dimensional, and it's like either or, Coke or Pepsi. Yeah, I mean, it's just there's no nuance, no in betweens, and heavens forbid that if you have an independent thought, if you're in one camp or the other, or if you change or evolve over the years and you decide, well, the other side overall have some neat ideas, but you still have a little bit of your baggage from your previous ideology that your new friends wants to make you give up your all your previous ideas. That exists too. So usually a lot of nominal progressives or liberals that turn conservative, usually when they turn conservatives, they turn into pretty standard right-wing types. And when a lot of right-leaning people, they turn liberal, they kind of turn into kind of really cringy little screeching woke skulls. And so that's the discourse right there. And so, nobody has a sense of nuance about them or any sense of critical independent thought. It's like it's forbidden. And for America, a country that purports to be all about the individual, they really don't think too much of the concept of that individual. And that to me, that is a large problem in this country right now. I see it every day online. I had to create a new Facebook page for my channel because I have another Facebook page and I don't really use it anymore because I have friends from all walks of life, but I have people who range from normie progressives to standard right wingers, and neither of them understand me because they both project so much in me. I'm not trying to make this about me, but I'm just using myself as an example. So in the year 2022, 2023, all I've gotten out of most folks, I will say, since Biden got sworn in, because the Bernie movement is dead, so there's not they don't have this to go by me anymore. So people just if you're a Republican, a lot of Republicans thinks I'm a Biden bro. I voted for Howie Hawkins, and I would never vote for Joe Biden. I don't plan to vote for Joe Biden in 2024. Joe Biden, the one good thing that he did on the foreign policy stage was remove the troops from Afghanistan. But you jumped out of the, what was the phrase? Out of the frying pan into the fire. So, you pull us out of Afghanistan, which was great, but now we're in the cusp of possibly World War III or the Second Cold War, which I don't know if that's much better. And plus his history over the years, the crime bill that it was called the Biden crime bill in 1994 that incarcerated a lot of African Americans, something that offends me to this day, something that increased the death penalty to 50 federal crimes, that really cracked down and cracked down on a lot of civil liberties. And never forget that Biden voted for the Iraq War. Just always remember that in 2002, he voted for the Iraq War. And that should always be understood. So a lot of Republicans think I'm a Biden bro because they think he's some radical leftist, when Biden is as moderate and centrist as he could be, and his policies are, like he said prior to Trump defeating Trump in 2020, that there will be no fundamental changes. Unfortunately, he was true to his word, very true to his word. There's been no fundamental changes. Oh, but the economy is in terrible shape today. The economy, I don't know when the economy has ever been in great shape. I don't remember when the economy has ever been in great shape. When Obama was president, the economy, I remember it being the same. Trump, I remember it being the same. Now the prices are a little higher, granted, today. And I'm not defending Biden, but we did get out of COVID, and I'm not even blaming Trump for this. With this supply chain crisis that we had in this country, I mean, there's no wonder we have inflationary problems. You had people that went back to work. You had the economy on overdrive, and you have a supply problem, a transportation problem. And of course, that's going to go and affect prices. That's basic economics 101. This would have happened if Trump would have been reelected. There's nothing partisan about what I'm saying here. And I mean, and I have nothing to gain by defending Biden on this one. I would have said the same thing had Trump been reelected. And there's nothing to gain. So people, the Republican types think I'm a Biden bro. The Democrats think I'm some kind of closet fan of Donald Trump, because I didn't suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, because I do think other Republicans are worse than Donald Trump. And I think that George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney, John Bolton, Mike Pompeo, anybody named Bush, anybody named Cheney, they're all worse than Donald Trump. Donald Trump is just obnoxious. I mean, and yeah, there's plenty of criticism of Trump on a lot of policies, but and even on the one area where he has one thing going for him on foreign policy, like Glenn Greenwald said, it was an accident, but he had the Bush establishment type going against Trump, the resistance going against Trump, and Trump going against everybody else. It was a lot of chaos, and the United States accidentally was less aggressive around the world during the Trump years. It was not because Trump was a peacenik at all. But remember, folks, the murder of General Qasem Soleimani in Baghdad, the Iranian general, that was a war crime that took place. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That was a war crime. The drone strikes continued under Trump. We are still in Syria. We're still in Iraq. He tried to overthrow the government of Venezuela. There's nothing even remotely peacenik about Trump. So anybody who thinks that I'm somehow pro-Trump, they're out to lunch too. And because I could never vote for a political party that would promote things like the Christian right narratives. I could never support that socially authoritarian conservatism that they promote. There's nothing liberty minded about it. So and so I just want to make that clear. The only thing about Donald Trump that I may be guilty of, as far as the people who make these allegations, the man's funny. I mean, he's hilarious. I mean, he has a comedy show. And as I said about Ron DeSantis is more dangerous than Donald Trump, because he's got the horrible policies of George W. Bush, and he's got some of the mean streak that Donald Trump tries to to bring about, but he's more competent about it than Donald Trump, but he lacks the comedy show that Trump provides. At least Trump did provide a comedy show of sorts. So I kind of wanted to have that straightened out. Now, as I said, I'll mention this every 15 minutes or so. We have super chats. So for KRTD Media, not for the Willy Bragg Show, but for KRTD Media. So if you can, just provide what you can as far as donations, and much is appreciative. So let me continue. So I got no use for either party. In the words of Tim Black, both parties suck, Johnson. And they really do. They are horrible. Why do people insist on voting for the two-party system? So that brings me into this next thing, this next story here. You probably never heard of Mouseland. So, and that's fine. You've never heard of Mouseland. Most of you never heard of Mouseland, but some people in my audience have. Some people in my audience have. So, and so anyway, Mouseland was a story by Tommy Douglas. Tommy Douglas was one of the founders of the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation in Canada, which became the New Democratic Party of Canada. And he talks about the mice in this little village called Mouseland, who were being ruled by the black cats and the white cats. And so, and you can look at our two-party system here in the United States, and you can see how it kind of relates. And his grandson, Kiefer Sutherland, yes, that is his grandson, Kiefer Sutherland, talks about the Mouseland right now. So I want to share this ditty with you. So hold tight. This is I always enjoy this story. Okay, hold on a second, folks. Okay, I'm getting on the chat line here on the side. Is there no sound? Are y'all not hearing any sound on the video? Because I'm hearing a sound on my side. Could y'all answer that question, please? Because I don't want to play this and there be no sound. So if anybody here on the chat line on the side could do that, I can get another video of this with the same material. So, or I could even do that right now. So give me a moment here. Can hear you, but not the video. Okay, okay. I appreciate you telling me that. So we're going to go and find another one, okay? Hold on a second. This just take a second. That's a little glitch that happens. It happens to all of us. So, well, all of us that do this sort of thing here. All right. Okay, hopefully this video will do it. It's the same material. Hopefully it will do it here. Hold on a second here. So I'm sorry about that. And we will fix that momentarily. It's kind of embarrassing when I do this sort of thing when it happens. So hold on. Okay. Okay, let's see. All right, this one, I'm going to get rid of that one. Okay. All right, and we're going to go and try it now on this one. Okay, it's the same video, so let's see. Hopefully this one will work. And if it doesn't work, I don't know what the hell is going on. Okay. Okay, let's try it now. Sorry about that, folks. Y'all let me know if it works this time. Okay, I bet you it has something to do with okay, I'm sorry. Well, I'm tell you what I'm gonna do. I will tell you about Mouseland. I'll tell you about Mouseland, how Mouseland goes. Okay, Mouseland basically is a story Tommy Douglas spoke, and it's about a little area, a little village called Mouseland, a little society filled with mice. And in this little area, the mice they voted every couple of years, and they voted, and they were ruled initially by the black cats. The black cats were horrible. They were horrible. They mistreated the mice, and they just had it with the mistreatment and them just not treating the mice nicely. So what the mice did, they went and voted, and they voted out the black cats, and they voted in the white cats. So the white cats rule, and they think there was going to be changes. Well, with the white cats, nothing really changed. They came up with new laws too. Some of them were just as bad or even worse. So the mice got fed up with the government being ruled by the white cats. So they ended up voting back for the black cats. And so it went back and forth, the black cats and the white cats, back and forth, back and forth. Peter and Paul, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, black cats, white cats. Then there was spotted cats, cats that had a black cats with white spots and white cats with black spots. And they called that a coalition government. See where I'm going with this? So that kept taking place over the years. And people were like, it was just like, no matter what you did, no matter what you were doing, no positive change came about. So one day, one of the mice came up and went to the group of the other. One mouse came up to the group of mice and said, "Hey, we've been mistreated by the black cats and the white cats for so long. Why don't we mice get together and rule amongst ourselves?" Well, one of the mice got really offended and said, "That's a Bolshevik! That's a Bolshevik! Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock up that troublemaker!" And so the little mouse was put behind bars. He was put behind bars. You can lock up a mouse, and you can lock up a man, but you can never lock up an idea. Watch out for the little fella with the idea. I am probably the only American, or I'm certainly the only person in North Carolina that owns a Mouseland pad. Mouseland for the New Democratic Party of Canada, previously the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation. I bought this in 2003 when I went to the NDP Federal Leadership Convention. Yes, I own a mouse land pad, because if I lived in Canada, I would be a member of the New Democratic Party of Canada. They're better than the Liberals. They're better than the Conservatives. They may not be as good as they used to be, but they're the best thing politically in Canada right now. And I'm sorry you couldn't hear the volume on the video. I do apologize for that. But anyway, you get the point. We are mice in the benign sense of the word, and we are being taken for a ride by the black cats and the white cats, called the two-party system, Democrats and Republicans. In Canada, it was the Liberals and the Tories. Here, they're the Democrats and the Republicans. They're taking us for a ride all the time, and we just sit there and take it. And, you know, for me, I always argue for a third party, preferably of the left. But it's not just restricted to the left. There are people out there they'll argue, and they don't really fit under a left-right category per se. But there are people on the left that will vote libertarian. There are people on the right that will vote for libertarian for whatever reason. So they don't really fit in either category, yet they sort of do. And I'm not saying that to be critical of them, but you know, because I have voted libertarian in the past, they get rejected. The Green Party, I probably voted Green Party more than any other political party outside of the two-party system over the years. They get rejected. I was involved with the Socialist Party USA for many years, and that party gets rejected. Even though this political party is the furthest thing from my ideology, in some ways worse than the Republicans, would be the Constitutional Party, previously called the U.S. Taxpayers Party. And their problem is the Republican Party isn't right-wing enough. So I don't, obviously not going to like that political party, but you know what? They're also casted aside. So I feel a little sorry for them too. And if you're kind of just outside of it all and you don't like the buddy system that exists in Washington, D.C., you are just kind of casted aside. You don't belong to the cool kids club. And there's nothing cool about this cool kids club called the two-party system. So just kind of bring that out. So yeah. So a little bit about Tommy Douglas before I go, because further, because Tommy Douglas is kind of a standard that I think maybe the American left should go by, because in many ways, Canada is basically the United States. Has done a lot of their crap correctly. Tommy Douglas was born in Scotland in 1902, but he moved to Saskatchewan very young in life, and he became a Baptist minister. And, you know, when you compare the religious right in America, which are mostly, not picking on Baptists, but mostly a lot of them are Baptists, and you can consider the Baptists in Canada, and you consider the large ideological differences, you know, is kind of breathtaking, because, you know, while the Jerry Falwell types in the United States talk about the evils of socialized medicine all these years, the man that brought, it's not socialized medicine, but the man that brought national health insurance to Canada, the Bernie plan, as I will call it here in the United States, Medicare for All, was Tommy Douglas. And Tommy Douglas popularized it, and it became law in Saskatchewan while he was the premier. And it became so successful, some of the other provinces in Canada were to implement it. And then by 1966, under the Canada Health Act, Canada became a universal healthcare nation. And Canada now has Medicare for all. Now, people have demonized the healthcare system in Canada. I'm not going to say they don't have their problems, but their problems are minimal compared to what we have here in the United States. Are there long lines? Sure. There probably are some long lines. Compare long lines to not being able to afford it here in the United States. At least they're going to eventually get it, as opposed to you don't go to the doctor. You don't even bother to go and get your surgery because you can't afford it. You don't want your family to go bankrupt. You don't get your prescriptions because you can't afford it. Or when you do get your prescription, you have to go and chop it in little pieces to make it last. That's healthcare here in the United States. And it is a system based on evil, the profit system here based on evil. Now, I'm a socialist. And even as a socialist, I don't even necessarily say you have to nationalize every single industry. Major industries, yes. Yes, healthcare ought to be nationalized, in my view. I would nationalize the oil companies. I would nationalize, a lot of the energy sector, things of that nature, things that are needed right there. A lot of the privatized ports, I would nationalize. The electric companies, and socialists varies on how much nationalization is necessary. There are people I do consider socialists that would just nationalize far less than what I would nationalize. I used to be one of those that figure a basic capitalist system with a single payer Medicare for all and more unions adjacent to the system, that's socialism. It would be Sweden, Norway, maybe, but it's not socialism. But it's certainly better than what we got, or Canada, that situation. I would do it like Great Britain after World War II, before Margaret Thatcher messed everything up in 1979. That level of nationalization. Suffice to say, so I do think that the Tommy Douglas model is what I tell Americans this is what we should go for. And Tommy Douglas fought for a third party. And it was called originally the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation, which became the NDP in 1961. 1932 it was the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation. And so I will argue that we need to have something along the lines of the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation, or the New Democratic Party, as it would become later on, because the two-party system has miserably failed us here in the United States. Now, both the Socialist Party of America, that's the Socialist Party of Eugene Debs, Norman Thomas, the ideological tradition that I'm closest to, and the Communist Party USA, who were adversaries for the longest time against the Socialist Party of America, both had this in common. Both kind of influenced FDR into the New Deal direction. And so both figured that they could go and reform the Democratic Party from within and make the Democratic Party into something kind of like the Labour Party of the UK at that time. I think that there was people that were in hopes that the Democratic Party could be something like that. And in its time, I could understand why people came up with that point of view. As late as 2019, 2020, I would have probably thought that was still possible with Bernie Sanders, until I won't say what happened to him in 2020, because you too might consider that a conspiracy theory, even though it did happen. So I don't want KRTD nor my channel to shut down in punishment as a result. So I know how they are with how censorious and how much censorship crazy social media is. But let's just say that Bernie Sanders was done wrong in 2020 as he was done wrong in 2016. And, you can guess what happened there. I thought it was kind of hopeful that we could turn the Democratic Party into something like the Labour Party, or a Social Democratic Party, or a Socialist Party, or something like that. I had that hope. It didn't happen. And I'm convinced it's never going to happen. Because the progressives that we sent in there, even though they're just a handful of them, had the leverage and power to make a difference. You know, they had the power to go and push Nancy Pelosi as the Speaker of the House, to push her in and get some concessions out of her. And how sad is it that's what she was able, that what the left weren't able to do or willing to do. The right took that tactic that was finally, abandoned by the left, and they kind of adapted it themselves and forced Kevin McCarthy to doing concessions. So, and just like Breonna Joy Gray said to Bosch, who's an idiot and does not believe in forced to vote, and Bosch, who went and basically call Breonna Joy Gray a fascist, she basically said that he had something in common with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and that is that she didn't believe in forcing the vote either, because she was in favor of supporting Kevin McCarthy, while Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert and that set of idiots over there adopted force to vote. Now, I don't like Matt Gaetz, and I don't like Lauren Boebert. I don't like any of those clowns. But unfortunately, for the moment, they have more respect. I respect them more than I do AOC and company, because they took that tactic and used it for bad things, obviously, but they used it because they knew that it was a tactic that could work. But the leftists in the Democratic Party didn't, because they just weren't going to do anything, and they have proven over and over that they weren't going to do anything for working people. And that's been a large problem with trying to work within the Democratic Party. And it makes the idea of working outside the two-party system even more urgent. While I keep hearing people saying, well, you got to vote harder. That's all the left has ever done, was to vote hard, people. They have voted so hard over the years. I mean, it's ridiculous. But we're going to get optimistic for a moment, and we're going to talk about that time period where the Democrats did listen to the left a little bit, because it worked for a while. It worked. And so right now, essentially, we're going to, after FDR's New Deal, because a lot of the socialistic measures were watered down into FDR's New Deal. Let's go into the 1960s, into 1965. And that is basically the signing of Medicare and Medicaid into law by Lyndon Johnson. As you can see here, President Lyndon Johnson with former President Harry Truman on the side. Because I think Harry Truman might have been the first recipient of Medicare. I think that's how that worked. That was why he was there alongside with Lyndon Johnson. Ironically, both Lyndon Johnson and Harry Truman were for Medicare for all. And it was called National Health Insurance back then. They were for single payer. They were for Medicare for all. They were for National Health Insurance. That's what they call it back then, NHI, National Health Insurance. And my understanding was that when Medicare and Medicaid came about in 1965, that was the beginning of what was supposed to be National Health Insurance for America. It was supposed to be a stage for the elderly and for those who were financially in dire straits. That was how Medicare and Medicaid was supposed to work. It was always been a largely successful program, along with the VA, but it's been allowed to be undermined by people from both parties. It isn't the program itself that's been a failure, it's the politicians. And it's been done by design to make people want to favor the private sector to go and solve all our problems. And when you get the private sector to sit there and solve all our problems, it makes the problems worse. So the in theory was Medicare and Medicaid would become the law of the land, and then eventually a universal health care program for kids up to the age of 18 was supposed to be set up. And then eventually the people in that middle age group, I guess between the age of 18 and 65, will be eventually filled in. That was how it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be done in stages. So the first stage has ever been done. And I don't consider the Affordable Care Act as a progression toward that, because all the Affordable Care Act has ever done is just force people to buy private health insurance. And I said this before, I was opposed to it at the time because, as I said, forcing people to buy private health insurance is not a solution. And remember, when the Heritage Foundation comes up with the idea and they come up with the idea of things like the Affordable Care Act or anything that the Heritage Foundation comes up with, those are ideas you need to run away from. It's a bad idea. There's nothing even remotely positive about it. So let me for just a quick second, just pause and let you all know that to go ahead and let you know that we are monetized here at KRTD Media. So if you can, just go ahead and just donate whatever you can to help with our work. So I'll leave it at that. And as I said, that's my little spiel, and I shall go on. So anyway, that was probably one of the economically most forward things that was done during the Great Society. And the Great Society gets a lot of bad lip service by people from across the spectrum. But I will argue that both FDR's New Deal and LBJ's Great Society made America better, not worse. And the problem with the New Deal and the problem with the Great Society was that neither domestic economic program went far enough. It needed to go further. I make no apologies for that, and I know what I'm talking about. And that was needed to be done. But let's jump back to FDR for a very quick moment, because with FDR, basically, some people have complained about this. Usually, a lot of right-wing talking heads, they say this like it's a terrible thing, but I think it was actually wonderful. And we're talking about things like the Second Bill of Rights that I believe was in 1944, that he talks about this just before he died. That every American has a right to a job. And they do. Every American has a right to a job. A living wage job, which I'm going to touch on in just a short moment here. They have a right to an adequate wage and decent living. So I would say that, basically a living wage job is what he was saying. A decent home. Yes. And by decent home, you shouldn't be paying all your salary for rent. And, it's so sad that home ownership is really just been compromised. I mean, and it's getting more difficult for people to buy a home, and rent pretty much takes up most of your salary. So if you go and pay your month's rent, you have very little in terms of your groceries or your utilities or putting gas in your car from getting from point A to point B. And I frankly am astounded to see how people make it sometimes. I really am in this day and age. But I mean, I don't think that people talk about this enough. I mean, great that we talk about Medicare for all and everything this day and age. But and I just remember a conversation I've had with Lucy from Blue Moon Red Wine several months ago, and she said that maybe even better than healthcare for all is the idea of everybody having a home for all. And I gave that a little bit of thought, and I think she might be right about that. So, I certainly think it's right up there about equal, to tell you the truth. So anyway, economic protection, Medicare for all, Medicare, medical care, and he's implying national health insurance, economic protection during sickness, accident, old age, or unemployment, of course, and a good education, which can means, free college education, whether it's university or community college or what have you. So let me do this, because when somebody donates, I want to be sure to acknowledge. And Laura Deli hates the clock, donated $5. Thank you. Please all join Medicare for All everywhere on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and the website. This is a collaboration for the federal and state efforts. Thank you. I appreciate this. And KRTD Media thanks you for this. Thank you. I appreciate that. So anyway, so FDR basically, this is one of the reasons why I've always said that FDR was one of our greatest presidents. Although I wouldn't have voted for him if I had been living at the time, I would have voted for Norman Thomas in every election cycle, because that is my political orientation, as I said. So I want to talk about what is called the Humphrey-Hawkins Full Employment Act, because when we have unemployment in this country, we don't need to have unemployment in the year 2023. There does not need to be any unemployment at all. I mean, we really, because you hear people say, if you have it's a matter of enforcing the laws you got. You hear people use the term that, while you get new laws, when you need to enforce the laws you got, why make a new law? Well, okay, fair point. Well, I'm sure that some of the people who will say that probably would disagree with me when I say, let's go and enforce this law here, the Humphrey-Hawkins Full Employment Act. If you're not familiar with the Employment Balanced Growth Act, which is the proper name, but its nickname is the Humphrey-Hawkins Full Employment Act of 1978. Basically, the gist of this law is that it's supposed to guarantee a full living wage job to every American in this country. And it was signed into law in October 1978 under President Jimmy Carter at the time. It was never enforced. Wasn't enforced by Carter. Definitely wasn't enforced by Reagan. That's one law he would not want to see enforced, nor Bush, nor Bill Clinton, nor George W. Bush, nor Barack Obama, nor Donald Trump, nor Joe Biden. But I would say there's a law that needs to be enforced more than anything else when it comes to the economy is this particular law here. Because if you make sure that a job is a guaranteed right to every American, you will see things like, poverty will go down. So that's where we're at right now. So I just wanted to point that out, that we actually have some laws, like Medicare and Medicaid was supposed to be, the stage toward national health insurance. And then we have laws that's supposed to guarantee us a job for all. There's no need to have a jobs for all bill when you already have one in the law books. But I think there's a lot of people, even people in Congress, who may favor it that are not aware of this law. So anyway, we'll continue. Now I have said that. Oh, let me do this here. Thank you. Snork Y2K has contributed $2. I thank you for that. KRTD Media, thank you for that. And one of the Fed's jobs is to guarantee unemployment. And that's very true. And it should be that way. We should guarantee one of the Fed's job is to guarantee unemployment. I see what you're saying. Yeah, and unfortunately that is the case. I see what you're saying. Yeah, because economically it's good for those on the top without any concerns for those on the bottom. I'm sorry, I misread that. But as I said, thank you, Snork Y2K, for your donations of $2. Much is appreciative. Getting back to what I was saying here. When it comes to voting, I have said that I would probably not vote again. I have said that several times. And of course, it's because I'm frustrated. I'm incredibly frustrated and everything. Now, I don't mind saying that my political orientation this day leans more toward Kashama Sawant, where her group Workers Strike Back. And that's because I think she's onto something that maybe even Eugene Debs and Bernie Sanders were not quite getting. And our politicians are politicians in this country, and maybe we need to forget about those politicians. So Workers Strike Back sounds kind of like a new version of the IWW in a lot of ways. I never thought about it till now. That we need worker militancy, and we need to organize the workplaces, the private and public sector. That needs to be your number one concern. And it's not going to matter if you elect Democrats or Republicans, because they don't care about us. They really don't. So and the purpose of Workers Strike Back is to create a new workers' party down the road. And that's what we kind of need to focus on down the road. I would say you can go and vote for whoever you want to, if whatever works for you. But I personally can't get excited about candidates for office anymore like I used to, because they're all going to let you down. And it totally sucks that that's the situation there. It totally sucks. So what I want to do is I'll tell you what I've always desired. And I was just like, well, the other countries have it, and I wish that we had it here, and we could have our own American Labor Party. Something that's not the Democrats or the Republicans. I know that's FDR's picture up there. What does it say, Labor Party? Well, I'll tell you why. Yeah, I know he was a Democrat, but it says Labor Party. That was the button for the American Labor Party of New York State. It was a short-lived political party that did fusion politics with the Democrats. In other words, they ran their own independent candidates, but they did endorse FDR and put him on the top of their presidential ticket. Now, what is fusion? Fusion is basically a third party that endorses a major party candidate, an individual from a major party candidate, and put them on their slate. And that's a possibility, I guess. It would change everything. The new party tried having it legal at one point, but what happened when it was taken to the Supreme Court, Supreme Court Justice William Rehnquist said if fusion was to be considered constitutional in all 50 states, it would actually dismantle the two-party system, which is why he was against it, which is the reason why it needed to take place, but it never did. That's a possibility. proportional representation is another possibility. Free party competition is another possibility. Ranked choice voting is another possibility. And in certain places, like in Alaska, they're now doing ranked choice voting, which will eventually, if it can be practiced in enough places, could potentially weaken the two-party system. So I would love to see ranked choice voting, but we'll see if it actually gains the traction it needs to gain. It is something that I would like to see everywhere. In all 50 states, I would love to see ranked choice voting. That's the one that has the most appeal. And it kind of throws people off at first, but once you explain it, I think that once it's explained to people, then they're just kind of like, well, oh, okay, I see how that works. So there is that. So what the point I'm trying to make is this, is that when you have things like this situation with the two-party system that exists here in the United States, you need to find alternatives to it, because what we have here for political discourse is garbage, is absolute garbage. So and I just wanted to mention that, and let's see, what else can I say about this whole thing? Well, as I said, I just can't get myself excited by Marianne Williamson, and I'm not going to be like a lot of folks. I'm not going to be like a lot of folks. There's some folks on the left that wants to sit there and make total fun of her. I just don't. I'm cynical, but I'm not going to. I don't think it serves any purpose to make fun of her. But on the other hand, I'm not going to get behind her either, because, they're just trying to find a new Bernie, and it's going to be a long time before a real Bernie comes along. Hopefully, the next Bernie that comes along will have some kind of a spine, but hopefully by that time there'll be no need to work in the Democratic Party, because the party that you be working inside will be an actual labor party, and that's what needs to be focused on instead of working within the two-party system. I mean, for some folks, it just sounds very cliche to sit there and criticize the two-party duopoly, but the two-party duopoly is what's wrong with the United States right now. And it's not just voting out the bums. There's also things like campaign finance reforms that's kind of connected into that. Public financings. If a third party is strong enough in a certain campaign, they get federal funding. So there's no waste of time when it comes to voting. And I just want to stress this point. No matter where you are ideologically, if you hate the two bums that runs against each other every 2 years, Democrat, Republican, you just hate the BS that they, and the mudslinging, and the empty talking points that and the platitudes that they have. There's a way out of this, and you can always vote for a third party. But unfortunately, they're like, I don't know about that. It's very simple. Just do it. If you've never done it before, just do it. I mean, you're like, well, what if? As if this time voting for the lesser evil is going to make things better. How is voting for the lesser evil making things better? I don't know of any situation where voting for the lesser evil is going to make things better. Show me basically the receipts where voting for the lesser evil made things better. I just don't see where it's happened at all. So I just want to go and stress that right now. And Also, I want to make a quick announcement, and that's basically this. Um, this coming Tuesday, and I believe it's at the Department of Justice. Let me go make sure. I'm sorry, I should have. Let's see, April. I think it's April 23, 2023. Let's see. I just want to go make sure. All right. And I should have actually added this. I just thought about it when I got on the air. Let's see here. It's going to be the 4th anniversary of his arrest. So I believe it's at the Department of Justice. I'm trying to let me check on Twitter. I'm so sorry that I should have actually got that information out earlier. It just occurred to me. Wow, I should have gotten that information out. So I want to do that. But on at midnight tonight, we have they have the secret show with that's Warren and Jimmy. They have the secret show on Extra Booyah tonight, and so be sure to go and watch the secret show. And it's always interesting and entertaining to see what they're up to and the correspondence with the audience and all of that. So my Saturday nights are not complete unless I go to watch the secret show. So, and I found what I was looking for. So there you have it. So let me get to this announcement real quick, and because it is an important announcement. So here we go. All right, and that is on April the 11th. That's this coming Tuesday. We have basically Julian Assange, 4 years in Belmarsh, April 11th, Tuesday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be there because of my work schedule, but they're having a rally at the Department of Justice, and they wish they could do it during the weekend, but it's symbolic because it's the day that he was arrested. So there's going to be a rally out there sponsored by Action for Assange. So if you can make it, if you're in the Washington, D.C. area, go by the Department of Justice on 10th and Pennsylvania Avenue is the location. And be sure to show your solidarity for Julian Assange and because of the injustice that he suffers. So I hope to know that you've been there, because I can't be there because my work schedule and all that. But if I had the time, I would be there, and I'm there in spirit because of course I always supported Julian Assange. Also want to mention again, Jimmy and Warren tonight are going to be on the secret show on Extra Booyah. Be sure to watch their show every midnight Saturday night. So and that's now let's go to the chat line. So we have here Snipe Hunter, who said hello and hi, how are you doing? We also have Billy Bong Thornton. I recognize you from Nays Garden. How are you doing, my friend? And we have also Lana Dell. Hey, how are you doing? Hi, Willie, shared. And then she said, correction, shared. Don't worry about the correction. My name is Willie, spelled the other way in real life, but I spell it Willie on my show this way. So either Willie really is correct at the end of the day. And Catty Ann says, happy Easter. Likewise, happy Easter to you. Let's see. Billy Bong Thornton says, I hate all politicians equally. I'm there with you, buddy. I'm there with you. They all suck. Let's see. Snipe Hunter says Happy Easter, and Happy Easter to you, my friend. Let's see. Billy Bong Thornton says once they get empowered, they go corrupt. And that is so very, very, very true. The Uniparty said Idle Hans, the Uniparty system of failure, endless war, and national insolvency. On point, very much so. Let's see here. Idle Hans, broken two-party system. Very broken. Yeah, we know about the no sound situation. Sorry about what it was at. I don't know why Kiefer Sutherland's voice was silenced. I'm sorry about that, folks, from earlier. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So let's see. Can hear, but not the video. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me scroll down a little further. All right. There we go. Here we go. Okay. Catty Ann says these two parties are the cheeks of the same backside. George Galloway. That's funny. Yeah, George Galloway always has these zingers, one-liners when you listen to him talk. Let's see here. Yeah, very much so. All right. Let's see here. As a 36-year-old American, I feel there's no future for me or my kids. I don't see myself owning a home, but living out of a van. Yeah. It's sad what's happened to this country in a lot of ways. Hey, Warren, how are you doing? That's Extra Bulia, who's the host of The Secret Show. Actually, the co-host on Saturday night. Let's see. Doing dishes. Sorry, couldn't hear. Don't worry, Lana Dell. That's fine. But I want to thank you for the $5 donation. That's very helpful to KRTD Media. Let's see. Shouldn't be housing versus Medicare. Oh, we can have both or more. And I absolutely believe that. So very much so. Let's see. Desert Mantis said, hi, Willie and company. Hi, back to you, Desert Mantis. Let's see. What do we got here? All right. We have right here. Snork Y2K says, I believe that the goal is 4% to keep people needing even more low-paying jobs. And that's what it comes down to. They want to keep the wages low. See here. Hot Retarded Chicks. Hey, how are you doing? I'm always glad to see you. Always glad to see you. Let's see. I have to interview one of these days. Whoever you are. Let's see. Stephanie says, your vote means nothing in the duopoly. Better off drawing your vote to the third party. Yep. And I get so tired of people telling me that my vote for a third party is a waste of time. Well, it's a waste of time to vote for the two parties when they don't listen to us. They don't advocate anything that I'm for most of the time. Let's see. The way to combat Nehru is federal jobs guarantee. We need to do that. We need a federal jobs guarantee program. Let's see here. Appreciate you, Willie. Thank you, Warren. Let's see. Drink your beer, a-hole, says Hot Retarded Chicks. I am dry today. I haven't had any alcohol, but I could be persuaded to have alcohol later on. Who knows? So anyway, I just wanted to go and kind of get this off my chest. And another announcement I wanted to make. Tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. I think it will happen 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Jimmy Sutherland, who co-hosts The Secret Show, and myself will be co-hosting tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about the various issues at hand, and so I hope you'll be joining us. And so just stop on by tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember to come back here next week, and we'll talk more. So I have a sore throat, so I'm cutting this a little bit short today. So just going to say that if you like what you heard, press like and comment any way if you disagree with what I have to say. And we'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Let's see what else. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell, and that's what you need to do. And it helps with the with independent media, and that will be on my channel and that of KRTD Media, and also follow us on Twitter, follow us on Twitch, and all the other platforms we're on, Facebook, you name it. And always reject corporate media because they have nothing to offer us. So, and thank you, Stephanie, and good night, Lana. Del hates the clock. Let's see. And hi, Les Bones. So yeah, Booyah 2024 is what we all think about too. Yep. That's a serious option there. So anyway, listen, y'all, I will be signing off, but I will be talking to each and every one of y'all next week, and y'all take it easy and take care, and let's see, and we'll be discussing the politics of the day again soon. Hope my sore throat gets better. All right, bye-bye.